To communicate effectively with someone who has a communication difficulty, you may need to adapt your own communication. We need to remember that communication is a shared activity. It is our responsibility to make sure that people with communication difficulties are able to understand information and express themselves effectively. The following tips and strategies may be helpful. If someone has difficulty understanding, you should try to keep things simple by limiting conversations to just one person at a time. You should also remove distractions and reduce background noise. This will help the person you are communicating with to concentrate on you and what you are saying. You may also need to use short, simple sentences and make sure that you only give one piece of information at a time. You should keep your questions simple too. For example, instead of saying, "Do you want chicken stew, cottage pie or a sandwich?" you should give one option at a time, such as, "Would you like chicken stew?" You should speak slowly and naturally and avoid raising your voice. Remember that a communication difficulty is different to a hearing difficulty and you do not need to shout. Sometimes you might need to use methods other than speech. This is called total communication. You could try writing down keywords, drawing simple pictures, showing real objects, pointing, gesturing, or using facial expressions. Sometimes having things like pictures, photographs, maps, or calendars can be helpful too. For example, if you are talking about people, dates, or places, these things will help to focus your conversation and help the person you're communicating with to understand. If someone is struggling to use words, you might need to encourage them to use methods other than speech. They will likely feel more comfortable using writing, drawing, and gesturing if you do these things too. The more you use total communication, the more natural it will feel. You should always give plenty of time. They may need more thinking time to find the words they need, or they might need time to use alternative methods such as writing or drawing. It is so important to be patient and show that you are listening. Try to avoid answering for them or filling in their words. When you think you have understood what someone is telling you, it might be helpful to recap to check that you have understood correctly. You could do this by restating what they have told you or by asking simple questions to clarify that you have understood. For example, were you telling me about Jean's new dog? You might also need to ask questions to help them get their message across. For example, to establish what they are telling you, you could ask questions like, "Is it something you need?" or "Is it a person?" Don't be afraid to ask what they would like you to do. Some people find it really frustrating when people finish their sentences, but others may find it a relief. Some people might want you to give them a clue about the word they need. If so, you could try a describing clue, such as, "It is a yellow fruit that monkeys like to eat," or a sound clue, such as, "It begins with B." People with more severe communication difficulties may find it hard to make even simple choices, such as whether they would like a tea or a coffee. It is so important to remember that communication difficulties do not affect intelligence, and remember that our choices are really important. Do not assume what people would want or need. Instead of expecting a verbal answer, you could show them some options and encourage them to point. Sometimes, despite all our efforts and strategies, we may still struggle to find out what the person is trying to tell us. These communication breakdowns can be incredibly frustrating and tiring. These feelings of frustration may make it even harder for people to get their message across. Sometimes, the best thing to do is stop and try again later. It is also really important to remember that not all communication is verbal. You can communicate so much with a smile or a hug. Sometimes it might be nice to try an activity that doesn't rely on speech, such as looking at a photograph album or doing your partner's hair. This would allow you to enjoy spending time together but takes the focus away from speaking.